How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Wi-Fi battle session. Today we're battling versus Falcon from the Discord server in the underused tier. Looking at the team, they got a Jolteon, Breloom, Blastoise, Floatzel, Politoed, and a Scizor. Very much a rain team. Gotta watch out for that Blastoise, especially with the Shell Smash, and Floatzel's wave crashes are just devastating. Looking at my team, I don't have much to take a wave crash from a Floatzel, other than maybe, I don't know, Inteleon could probably live one, maybe not. So we've got to be very careful with what we do here. So if we assume the lead with Politoed to get the sun up straight away, we should lead with something to counteract that. And I don't really know what to bring in. Obviously, like, we're pretty screwed, to be honest with you. So I think I might lead off with the Bronzong, get screens up straight away. They'll definitely help with taking the hits. It doesn't look like they've got a defogger. Well, they have Scizor, so that could be a defogger, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. And the first battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Falcons. So they're going to lead off with Breloom, as we lead off with our Rainmaker, the Bronzong. Now, I'm not too afraid of the Breloom, that's for sure. So let's go for a Reflect real quick, and hopefully they don't break Sleep Claws. So they withdraw the Breloom. Good. I was expecting a Spore for a second there. I had my doubts, but they do go straight into their Scizor, which I'm assuming is their defogger. So we go for a Reflect, and if we assume they're going to go for a defog here, we should definitely switch out. And I'm thinking Skeledirge is the way to go. I'm definitely thinking Skeledirge is the way to go. We do have the Sturdymon. I think Golem's going to be the key to taking out that Floatzel, so we should definitely keep that alive. So I'm going to bring Skeledirge in right now, expecting a defog, because if we can get rid of this Scizor early on, that's going to be great. So in comes Skeledirge like so, and we'll see how it fares against this Scizor real quick. So let's see what they go for. They go for a knockoff, so that's going to sting, but not too much, telling me they're not banded at least. And they get rid of our leftovers. So I'm assuming they don't have, they either don't have defog, or they just don't. I don't know. Let's go for a Shadow Ball anyway, because they're obviously going to switch out into one of their water types right now. So they withdraw the Scizor, obviously, as you would expect. And they're probably going to go Politoed if I had to guess. Yep, Politoed comes in. If we can get damage off on this thing, that's going to be great, as a Drizzle is going to come through. I'm hoping the Shadow Ball's a 2-hit KO, but I doubt it, because Politoed does tend to run bulky. So let's see how much damage. Oh, it's just shy of a 2-hit KO. That is unfortunate for us. So if we assume they're going to go either for a Weather Ball here, or something along those lines, we should definitely go into Bronzong. I think Bronzong can definitely take a Weather Ball from this thing, and we can maybe set up a Light Screen as well. We do have the Light Clay after all. They tried to knock off our Light Clay with the Scizor, but it didn't work out for them that well, as obviously Skeletor came in. So they go for a Chilling Water, which is even better, because that's not going to do nearly as much damage. As there we go. So we've got the Reflect Up already. We just go for a Light. No, do we need Light Screen? I'd say we need Light Screen just in case, because that Blastoise could easily come in and ruin our entire plan. So let's do that. So they withdraw the Politoed. What are they going to go into to take on my Bronzong real quick? Scizor comes in. So Scizor is obviously going to try and go for a knockoff or a defog once again. We go for the Light Screen. We get that up. And again, I'm banking on them not having defog, but I think it's pretty obvious they do. Unless they're a defensive Blastoise with Rapid Spin, which is a possibility, I suppose. So let's go straight into our Skeledirge once again. No real reason not to. They may go for a U-turn here. And if they go for a U-turn, that's fair enough. But I feel like they go for a defog or a knockoff once again. So let's go to Skeledirge like so and see how this plays out. They go for another knockoff. It's not going to do nearly as much damage, which is fantastic. Now, we could still use Skeledirge if we play it right. Now, I'm leaning towards going for a Shadow Ball or a Torch Song here, or a Slack Off. I think I'm going to go for the Slack Off option, because they're more than likely going to U-turn into a Water type, and I'd rather be at full HP when that comes to pass. So let's see what they do here. They go into the Jolteon. So Jolteon's an interesting one. It's probably got a Shadow Ball, or it just spams Thunder, one of the two. So we go for a Slack Off, get them health back. I still think Skeledirge could be useful, because if we Terra Fairy, we've got the bulk, we can take some hits from their team. Not that we need to do that right now, because I think it's more likely they go for a Thunder as opposed to a Shadow Ball right now. So what I'm going to do is, I want to switch out into Golem, but if they go for that Shadow Ball, I think Cyclizar is better. I think Cyclizar is better because it's immune to Shadow Ball and resistant to Thunder, but they withdraw the Jolteon anyway, and they go into the Scizor. So that is really unfortunate for us, because now What do we do against this Scizor? With Cyclizar, unfortunately, I don't carry Overheat, and it wouldn't KO anyway because of the rain. So we go into our nice and shiny Slack Off. The Reflect does wear off, which is unfortunate. I'm leaning towards going for a knockoff because they don't look like a hazard-setting team. They haven't got any hazards on the team. So I'm going to go for a knockoff because I don't really need Cyclizar necessarily. And I want to get rid of this Scizor's item. It has an Assault Vest, and it goes for a knockoff of its own, which does over half, knocking off our heavy duty boots. Now we know for a fact they're going to go for a bullet punch right now, so I'm going to go straight into my Skeledirge real quick, like so. Skeledirge is going to come in and sponge this bullet punch or U-turn that they're going to go for. I think it's more likely to go for a bullet punch though, to be fair. Take out the Cyclizar while they can. Yeah, they go for the bullet punch. So bullet punch comes through, does no damage pretty much. The rain is going to stop, which is great, which tells me they're going to probably go into their Politoed right now. So I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball. They withdraw the Scizor, as you would expect. No U-turn or anything like that. They don't want to risk now outspeeding. And they're going to go into Politoed to get the rain up. So we're playing well. I think, you know, we're not giving them any free switches into the Floatzel, which is great. So we go for a Shadow Ball here. And it looks like their only water move is Chilling Water. So if we can get rid of the Politoed here, we're going to be absolutely golden. So I'm going to go for a Torch Song to KO this Politoed. They do withdraw the Politoed. Are they going to go Breloom or something? Floatzel comes in. So Floatzel is here, unfortunately. And it gets a free Wave Crash on whatever it wants. Now, what we can do here is just go into Golem. Straight up. You know, Light Screen and Reflect wears off. They're probably thinking, right, they're going to sack off the Golem here, which is what I'm kind of doing. So let's go into it. I don't think they'll have Aqua Jet on this thing. I think they're Choice Banded. They're usually Choice Banded, these Floatzels are. So we go into Rocky Road real quick. They go for that Wave Crash. It's going to definitely take us right down to our Sturdy, unfortunately. And there we go. The Sturdy comes through. That's going to get some recoil damage as well. And then we just go straight for an EQ, I think, because EQ hits everything on their team pretty hard. So I am going to go for it. Custap Berry comes through. Hopefully they haven't got Aqua Jet. That'd be amazing if we can get rid of this Floatzel right here, right now. They withdraw the Floatzel. They had a hunch about the Custap Berry for sure. And they're going to go into Politoed once again. So Politoed does come in. Now our plan has failed completely. So we're going to have to rely on recoil damage to take out that Floatzel, which means we're going to have to sack accordingly. And I don't know what I want to sack, really. So let's see what they go into now. They go back into Floatzel, as you would expect. And they can just go for a Wave Crash. Now, what do we do? What do we do? I'm personally leaning towards going into Sylveon, getting that Rocky Helmet plus the Wave Crash. But there is also a possibility they go for a Liquidation, which could 2-hit KO them and not get the right recoil. So I think we have to let Golem go down here. I'll go for the Stealth Rocks just in case. But they do go straight for a Wave Crash, which is fine, which we can't obviously take. We get a little bit of recoil, obviously, but not nearly enough. Okay, let's bring Hubba Bubba in the Sylveon, just like so. Sylveon, I'm confident, can take a Wave Crash from this thing. And then we go for a Wish. I'm pretty confident we can take at least one. I am Fizz Death, so we should be able to take it. We can't take it, but the Rocky Helmet plus the recoil from Wave Crash should finish off the Floatzel. As it does, which is fantastic. So panic averted, the Floatzel's gone. It puts some holes in the team, but we managed to make our way around it. So now we still have Pokemon that can handle this team. Not really. I think Cyclizar might be a good idea. So might Bronzong to get the Light Screen up or the Reflect up, depending on what they go into. So I am leaning towards those. Maybe I should have... No, to be fair, I don't think there's any other situation where we would have been able to pull through here. So I think I'm going to go for Bronzong switch. They go into the Jolteon switch, which is fair enough. Nice and shiny as well. Gotta love it. We go into our Rainmaker, also nice and shiny. Gotta love it. So let's see how this plays out. Let's go for a Light Screen because their team is primarily having trouble with the special attackers. So let's go for a Light Screen first. They go for a Thunder. It's going to sting quite a bit. It does do over half of our remaining health. Light Screen comes through though, which means this next turn we're going to be able to actually take it, which is great. So what do we do here? Do we Future Sight or do we Reflect? I think we Future Sight personally, because we're going to take this Thunder like a champ. There we go. Barely. And then we go for a Future Sight, which is going to be great. And it's going to hurt something on their team for a little bit of damage. It's going to be Bronzong's Parting Gift. Their rain wears off, which is fantastic, which means they may actually miss this next Thunder if they're choice specs, but they don't, as Thunder's going to take out Bronzong, which is unfortunate, but what can you do about that? The great thing about this is we haven't Terrored yet, and we have Alluring Voice on Skeledirge. Now, why is this great? Because that Blastoise has Shell Smash. So I'm going to go straight into Skeledirge real quick, because I know this thing's probably locked in right now. Go straight into Skeledirge, like so. I'm going to Torch Song, because I want that special attack boost for definite, as they do withdraw the Jolteon, and they're probably going to Blastoise, right? Breloom. I would not have gone into Breloom there. Breloom is not the switch that I would have expected, but you know, it is what it is, if that's what they want to do. They are Focus Sash, which is interesting to note. And we're going to get a nice special attack boost. So they could have Rock Tomb with Technician, which will hurt, but it doesn't matter because the future side's there. Bronzong came through for everyone. Bronzong came through. We don't have to worry about no Rock Tomb, but they do get a free switch in with their Blastoise, which is important. In comes the Scizor. Why Scizor? Is Scizor going to Terra on us? Maybe it's Terra Blast, Terra Water, or something like that. I don't know. But Alluring Voice, if you look at it, if the Pokemon that it uses against has its stats changed or boosted during that turn, it'll confuse them. So if we can Terra Fairy on... I'm scared of this thing. I'm scared. I'm gonna sack off Cyclizar right now. I don't know what this Scizor is going to do. I'm thinking they're going to Terra with it, though. I'm thinking like Terra Rock, Terra Water, or something like that. So I want to definitely scout first. I don't want... Skeledirge is going to be important for the winning this game. So they do Terra. What type are they going to Terra into, though? That's the real question. Are they going to go Terra Dark for the extra knockoff damage? Are they going to Terra Water? They go Terra Fire. So Terra Fire. Interesting. So that is throwing a spanner into the works a little bit, but at the same time, not so much. So they do go for a knockoff, which isn't going to KO us, but obviously a Bullet Punch will KO us from here. That's for sure. But we don't care about that. We're going to drop a Draco just in case. They don't go for a Bullet Punch, expecting the Skeleturge to come in, but that's obviously not going to happen. So, now that the Scizor is here, we definitely try and get the KO with the Inteleon. That's for sure. The Inteleon has to get the KO here, but I think it's pretty probable that they're going to switch out into the Jolteon or the Blastoise right now. So, I am going to go for the opportunity to go for a flip turn right now. I think that's the best way to go about this, right? Yeah, I'm going to go for a flip turn because I feel like they switch out. So they go for a Bullet Punch. Wasn't expecting that. We go for a flip turn, and that does no damage. So that's unfortunate. So I could have gone for a Snipe Shot there. I really thought they would switch out the Scizor in the face of an Inteleon, boys. It's fine, I guess. Let's go into Skeledirge. Skeledirge should be able to handle this from now on, because they're about half damage. So if we go for a Shadow Ball, it should do a lot of damage, right? That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking for sure. If it doesn't KO them, we can go for a Slack Off and get our health back. If it does KO them, we're going to be at higher HP. They go for a BP anyway, which does no damage. And then we go for a Shadow Ball now, and that should take them out, I think. It does. It does, because they haven't got an Assault Vest anymore. So Scizor goes down. So we're still in a decent position. We can sack off Inteleon if we really need to. But now the light screens wore off, we're in a bit more of a bind, as in comes the Jolteon. So what we have to do here, is if they're going to go for a Shadow Ball, we definitely Terra Slack Off. So I'm going to Terra Slack Off real quick, just to scout, see what they're going to do. I think Terra Skeledirge is the only way we're going to get through this. So let's see how this plays out for them. So there we go, Terra Fairy. Just to be neutral to that Shadow Ball instead of weak to it. And then we go for a Slack Off. They go for a Thunderbolt instead, which is going to sting. Oh, it gets the crit KO, which is really unfortunate. So unfortunate, in fact, that it means we have lost this game to the Jolteon, which is really... I was hoping Skeledirge could pull something back there for us, but it's not going to work out like that, as James Pond's going to come in, get outsped by the Jolteon, unless they're modest. We go for a Snipe Shot. They are modest, but they still live. Go for a Thunderbolt and take us out. So that's going to be the game. So GG. Very good game. Very good game. That was a really fun one. Thank you, Captain Falcon. I really appreciate it. On to the next game. And the second battle is here. We're going against Triford from the Discord server in the underused tier. Looking at the team, they got a Quackable, a Alolan Ninetales, a Hisuian Arcanine, Typhlosion, Mamoswine, and Mabostiff. Mabostiff's really cool to see, by the way. I love that Pokemon. Like, I don't know why I never used it, but I've never used that Pokemon once in my life. So anyway, Sylveon's going to be important for that Quackable, that's for sure. I think the best thing for us to lead with might be, because if we assume they're going to go for the Ninetales lead, we should lead with Bronzong, right? Bronzong should be the lead, but they have 2 fire types that they could counter lead us with, and I have limited switch-ins to those fire types. I suppose for the Arcanine, it's going to be tough, but for the Typhlosion, I can just go into my Skeledirge, I guess, so not too bad. I think I will lead with Bronzong, just expecting that Ninetales lead to get the Aurora Veil up. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll just kind of see how it goes. And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Triforce. So they're going to lead off with Quackable, which is an interesting lead. We go for the Bronzong, so not too bad for us. They may switch out into a fire type right now, but I'm going to go for a Reflect regardless, just so that I can get that physical defense boost that we need. They do withdraw the Quackable. Are they going to go into one of their fire types, or maybe Mabostiff? That could be a good one. Ammon. Who's Ammon? Is that going to be the Arcanine? Okay, so Arcanine comes in as we go for a Reflect, so that's not turned out too bad for us. We can tell they're probably going to go for a Flare Blitz here regardless. So we should probably switch out into Golem and get the Stealth Rocks up. That could be really useful for us. So I am going to go ahead and do that. Go into Golem, go for the Stealth Rocks. We should be golden. So let's see what they do, because I feel like they predict the switch and they go for a Head Smash on the Skeledirge. They don't. They go straight for the Flare Blitz, which is great for us as it does absolutely nothing to Golem. Hopefully it doesn't burn us. That'd be unfortunate. As it doesn't, they are Life Orb, which is good to note. I'm going to get them Stealth Rocks up real quick, and then we'll see what they're going to do next. They do go straight for a Head Smash and miss, which is really unfortunate for them as we go for a Stealth Rock and get rocks up on their side of the field. So not sure what they're playing at with this Arcanine, to be honest with you, but I am going to go for an Earthquake, because it'll definitely take out the Arcanine, and we can do a lot of damage to pretty much anything. They go for another Flare Blitz, though. Guessing they don't have close combat, or they're trying to get the burn. One of the two, but it's not going to work, because I never get burned. I say that. I literally was about to get burned then. But Earthquake comes through, takes out the Arcanine, which is fantastic. Not sure what they were doing there, but, you know, it is what it is. Let's see how this plays out for the rest of the game. I guess looking at the team, they don't really have a switch into Edgequake. So in comes the Typhlosion, which can definitely do some damage to us with its Terra Grass and stuff like that. So if we assume they're going to go for something like that, let's go into our Cyclizar first. They don't have to worry about hazards too much with their team because they have the Mamoswine, which can put Stealth Rocks up. But you don't normally see Stealth Rocks on the Mamoswine, so we'll see how it plays out anyway. Let's go for it. As they go for a Focus Blast and they miss, which is fantastic for us. Now, they could be Scarfed. They could go for another Focus Blast. So I am going to make a double switch in Skeledirge right now, just in case they are Scarfed, which I'm assuming they are if they've stayed in. But Typhlosion is so cool. I love Typhlosion so much. Really cool to see Typhlosion on the field. But either way, they go for a Focus Blast, and obviously that's not going to affect Skeledirge. And they more than likely are Choice Scarf. So we can assume they're going to switch here, but what would they go into? That's the real question. I'd say they probably go into the Quackable. So I'm going to go for an Alluring Voice first, as they do withdraw the Typhlosion. Are they going to go into the Quackable as it predicted? Yes, they do. So we go for the Alluring Voice on the Quackable. Great little prediction on my part. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but you know. Alluring Voice comes through, and it nearly takes out the Quackable, which is fantastic. Now I can finish this thing off with a Torch Song if I want to, and we should be golden. They go for an Aqua Step to get as much damage off as possible on the Skeledirge. Does nearly half, which is all respectable and all that. But unfortunately for them, not quite enough to 2-hit KO us, as we go for a Torch Song to take them out. And we get that nice special attack boost. So Skeledirge is looking pretty powerful right now. That's for sure. Down goes the Quackable. In comes Link, the reliable partner. That's the Mabostiff. So we have to be very careful here, because this thing has an interesting ability which makes it do more damage when you switch out. So I'm half tempted to Terra Fairy here. I am tempted to Terra Fairy here, but that makes us weak to the Typhlosion's Fire Blast. Not weak to it, but we'll be like neutral. So I think I will Terra Fairy here and stay in, because oh, they're going to Terra as well. What type are they going to Terra into? Watch it be Steel or something. Just to wind me up. Watch it be Steel. Fairy as well. Terra Fairy as well. Makes sense. They already saw the Alluring Voice. They knew we could go for it if we wanted to. But we're going to also Terra Fairy, so it's a Fairy Showdown, everyone. It's a Fairy Showdown. Gotta love it. But the boss is nice and shiny as well. Gotta love that. So, let's go for an Alluring Voice and see what they're going to do. As there we go, we Terrastallize into a Fairy type. They go for a Psychic Fangs. which isn't going to do too much damage to us. We go for an alluring voice. And there we go. They must have expected us to do this, do something like this, like Terra Fairy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone for a Psychic Fangs there. They would have gone for a Crunch. So good play on my opponent's behalf. They made the right read there. As Crunch would have bounced right off us. But I'm going to go for another Torch Song here. They go for another Psychic Fangs. Does KO Skeledirge, interestingly enough. As Skeledirge goes down. So they get the KO, which is fine, I think. Because now we can finish this Mabosstiff off with a lot of options. Because it's not exactly the fastest Pokemon in the world. So I'm going to bring Inteleon in. Inteleon, looking at their team, pretty much batters their entire team right now. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go straight for the Snipe Shot. There's no real reason not to, as there we go. Boom. Right in the face. Right in the face. So Link goes down. I wonder why it's called Link. It's an interesting name for a Mabosstiff. Unless it's meant to be like Wolf Link from Twilight Princess. Which would be pretty cool if it is, to be fair. Ninetales comes in. There we go. So Ninetales doesn't outspeed us. But we can definitely use Inteleon for later. So I don't want to keep it in to risk it. But they probably go for an Aurora Veil, right? So should we go into Bronzong here? Or should we go into Golem? I think Bronzong's the best switch because it walls this thing to no ends of the earth. So let's go Bronzong real quick like so. And then we go Rainmaker comes in. I don't know why I call it Rainmaker. It's something to do with like they used to ring bells to make it rain. So I was trying to be clever, but I don't think it works really. They go for the Aurora Veil anyway. To complete that game, I kind of want to go for a Light Screen and a Reflect here. So because they more than likely switch into Typhlosion, right? So I go for a Light Screen. Definitely go for the Light Screen here. As they do withdraw the Ninetales. Are they going to go straight into Typhlosion? Would make a lot of sense if they did. Suchef. That's definitely the Typhlosion, if I remember rightly. Yep, there it is. Stealth Rock's going to chip into it, which is fantastic. We go for a Light Screen. Now I know I can take any hit from this thing. I'm feeling pretty confident. So what I'm going to do is, we assume they go for a Fire-type move here. We go into Golem. I want Golem to do something because Golem has had a bit of a streak recently of not doing much in battles. So we go into Rocky Road, the Golem, like so. They go for a Flamethrower. And that's going to do no damage, of course. Now, if we assume the Archoice Scarf, we can go straight for a Stone Edge. Or we can go for an Explosion. Explosion could be cool. Now, I think I go for a Stone Edge here. It's going to do a lot of damage. They stay in a Flamethrower. Fair enough. I don't know what it is about this guy's fire types just staying in on Golem to attack them with fire moves. The same thing with Arcanine. Pretty funny. But, you know, it is what it is. It's whatever. In comes the Mamoswine. This thing friends us. We haven't got Reflect up. Could definitely go for a load of dice Icicle Spear. Could also go for an EQ if it wants to. I'm going to hit Explosion just in case. But they do go for an Icicle Spear, which is, of course, probably loaded dice. As that is going to take out Rocky Road in 2 hits. So we don't know for definite it's loaded dice. But it probably is if they've got Icicle Spear, right? But if they have Focus Sash, it's broken because of the Stealth Rocks. Stealth Rocks are so important. I keep getting reminded of that. The snow is going to stop as well, interestingly enough. So, do we think Inteleon can KO with Snipe Shots? I think it can, personally. If not, we get slammed in the face with an Earthquake. But if it does, we're golden. So let's go for a Snipe Shot and find out. Let's find out if we can KO this Mamoswine with Choice Spec Snipe Shots. Could be a crit. It's got a high crit ratio as it goes down. No crit needed. No crit needed. Inteleon is just that powerful. Like, base 120 speed and special attack is not too bad at all, to be fair. It's outsped by like the likes of Greninja, which is why it's not used as often. But, you know, it's pretty cool Pokemon. I really like Inteleon. I really do. I really do. So let's go for a Snipe Shot once again. And then we'll find out what's whether this Ninetales can live or not. So we'll go for a Snipe Shots like so. Can live. Freeze Dry comes through. Can we live? We can. We can indeed. As we go for another Snipe Shot, Inteleon just proves how powerful it is as it takes that Freeze Dry like a champ. Ninetales goes down, and that's going to be the game. So GG, Tri-Ford. That was a pretty fun one. It was a very quick one, but, you know, it is what it is. Some interesting plays made by my opponent, for sure. But it was a really cool team, and I really had fun with that one. But anyway, here is the team. Try it out if you want to. Use the code at the top right corner of the screen. If you do try it out, let me know in the comment section down below how it went. And with that being said, I'll see you all in a bit.